We're recording this podcast in the radio station where you work. I used to work.
Yeah.
It's a different sort of vibe in here.
Yeah, but it's cool. Like, I don't feel like it's weird. Do you?
No.
Does it feel awkward?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Well, buckle up because I think our next conversation here is going to get awkward.
No, it's not going to get awkward. We were arguing about this off the air earlier. And it got heated. I don't know if I'm going to try to not get heated, but it's something I feel very strongly about. I know you feel very strongly about. And it really, to me, has to do with, we watched Ted Lasso, and he says, be curious, not judgmental.
Yeah.
Meaning, have an open mind.
Which I do.
Don't be so open and shut about things, except for people wearing two watches.
I do. Now, wait, you can't move the goalposts here.
I just did.
No, you can't move the goalposts. You need to be curious as to why I feel I need to watch two watches instead of being judgmental about it.
What is art and what is not art?
Yes.
I know a lot of people talk about this. As somebody who has really accepted that part of them as I'm getting older, and it doesn't even feel that strange to say out loud anymore. It felt like I shouldn't be saying this, that I am on some level an artist.
You are.
The things that I do and things that I put together and things like that, it took a long time to say it.
And maybe that's where I'm at, because I feel like I make radio every day. I do a show every day. I don't consider that art for me. I just consider that my job and something I enjoy doing. I don't really think of it as art, whereas I've been told by other people it is a form of art. So maybe that's where the discrepancy is between you and I on what art is and isn't, because, you know, what you're doing, you feel and have embraced the fact that it's art. What I'm doing, I just feel like it's my job, and I don't feel
right. But that's the thing
about it.
Again, I felt the same way about radio. I don't know how I feel about radio being art. I think there's a lot of things that you and I both did and do in radio that would be considered art.
Okay.
Some of the audio things that we put together and presentations and things like that, that takes work, that takes effort, that takes knowing how people or at least hoping how people are going to feel about it when they hear it or see it on socials or whatever. You know what I mean?
I mean, even doing the graphic design side of things now and getting into that, I don't feel like is very an artistic thing for me. Like, I don't see that as art, and I'm sure most people do, especially people who are graphic designers. You know, I when I'm doing it, I don't view it as being artistic, even though I'm picking the colors and I'm choosing where to place this or that. I just don't see it as artistic. And I really think that as we get deeper into this conversation, this is where our discrepancy of what art is and isn't is going to be. That's going to be the thing that is keeping us from crossing that line.
Well, I don't want to
of shaking hands and saying, "Oh, I get what you're saying."
I don't want to bring up the subject for the conversation that brought this up, a past conversation that you've had with somebody.
Yeah,
but
we just didn't.
What was
we just didn't
right?
agree.
But what was? I guess what was your contention as far as what was an art? What was? Give me a quick example.
You already told me that you think it's art. It was that
I can't remember though.
It's this robot that kept bleeding out its its oil.
It's a very famous art piece.
Not art.
So that's the thing. I'm trying to really figure, because you're saying it so like matter of factly.
For
like
me, it's not art. It's not drawing an emotion. It's not, you keep
just
saying
because,
it's about emotions.
Just because you
don't call me dead inside.
Just because you
don't call me dead
just
inside.
because you did not feel anything from it, are you suggesting that nobody else does?
Well, if art is subjective, then I guess that's the difference. Is I am not.
That's the real argument there.
I mean, like I said, I think there are just certain things that I just look at and I'm like, I don't see that as being artistic. The one that you and I were talking about. So
why wouldn't you consider that? I just want to know why you wouldn't consider that being artistic. It just
doesn't feel artistic to me. I just look at that as whatever. I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't feel artistic to me.
Okay.
Yet I know a guy
in town
don't like who makes beautiful tables that have like the it's got the woodwork side of it, but then what do they call that? Epoxy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pours epoxy and it's got stones. That to me artistic.
Yeah, it is. But now, so
Beautiful.
what if they were making? Well, let's just say, okay, this this studio desk that we're sitting on, I would say that's art,
It's art.
right?
Yeah.
What if it? Let's just say
Bleeding?
that this cabinet here that is not all pimped out with epoxy and things like that, and it's like an IKEA dresser.
Not art.
Somebody designed it.
But this is
Somebody
like a
designed it.
custom piece versus something.
If you were just,
thrown
if I
together.
made a picnic table, you know what I mean?
But if
as
you
for a practical
made it-
usage, right?
Yeah, I guess I can see that as being art. I don't know. There's something about that thing that I'm just like, that's not art. Look, here's the other thing, man. We talked about this. I don't see throwing a bunch of paint onto a canvas without any rhyme or reason, just throwing it on there as being art.
Well, that's the thing. I think that's where you're wrong too, because it's not. I mean, there's abstract art like that I go look at it and I'm like, well, that doesn't do it for me. But then I do look at some and I'm like, I really like that. And you're assuming that there's no thought put into it.
Okay, let me ask you this. I was at the museum in town here recently, and one of the pieces they had up was a white canvas, and all this person did was paint a red dot in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that art?
Yeah.
How?
What do you mean how?
How?
I don't know. Let's I don't know. Let me just read down this
So,
list of. Hang on real quick. There's definitions for art. So let's just read down this real quick. The quality, production, expression, or realm of things that conform to accepted aesthetic principles of beauty, show imagination and skill, and have more than ordinary meaning and importance. That's one. The class of objects. This is two. The class of objects that meet or are subject to aesthetic criteria. Objects considered beautiful, imaginative, skillful, and meaningly collectively, such as paintings, sculptures, or drawings. The visual or fine arts collectively, often excluding architecture. The arts, the fine arts, together with literature and the performing arts, a field, genre, or category of creative, imaginative, skilled activity that meets or is subject to aesthetic criteria. Any craft or field of creative activity applying aesthetic principles, skill, and technique. So back to your white canvas, red dot one. Yeah, it's hard. It was just something that somebody had in their head. They're trying to represent something. And at some point, especially if it's sold and you sell paintings, it's evoking some kind of emotion from somebody.
Well, I guess then, because I'm pretty sure that painting was like $100,000, I'm going to go get a red canvas, put a white dot in the middle of it, and put it up for sale for $100,000.
You should.
No, I shouldn't.
Oh, really?
This is not creative. There was nothing creative about putting a red dot on a white canvas.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Oh,
You're wrong.
good God.
You're wrong.
I can't even stomach the fact that somebody paid $100,000 for that.
I mean, it's overpriced. You know what I mean? At max, I'd spend $40 on it, maybe. You know what I mean? But if it's worth $100,000 to somebody else, look, man. Throughout my life, there's been so many times where I see paintings and I'm like, I don't see it, but it sells for like $1 million. Like, okay, there's this. I think it's Basque. I think that is the artist. And in the Metallica documentary, some kind of monster, Lars Ulrich, is selling this piece of art. It's a Basque painting.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to bring this up real quick and just see what your thoughts on it, because it looks like something a child would do. I know this is a very famous artist.
Honestly, if to talk about, there was that joke in because we constantly reference Ted Lasso, and Rebecca, the boss, has that super expensive $1 million painting hanging in her office, and Ted walks in and he's like, "Oh, that's nice," and she's like, "Yeah, it's a blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh, I thought a child drew that." That's kind of
right. So, but like that looks like a bunch of scribbles. That particular Basque painting looks like a bunch of like scribbles.
I see a person.
And yeah, it doesn't, again, a lot of people look at that and go, what are you talking about?
How much was this thing?
I think he sold it at auction for like 1.5 or something like that.
God.
1.5, something like that. 2.5, 3.5, somewhere around there.
And selling at $5 million. Brent, yours at $5 million.
See, and maybe that's the other thing. Maybe I'm looking at this in a way that is judgmental because something doesn't necessarily look aesthetically pleasing. and it's getting this large sum of money, maybe that's where my eyes roll and it makes me say that's not art. That's not worth that money.
Is that red dot painting?
No.
No.
But I mean, it looks damn similar. What's that one going for?
Oh, I know. It was oil with a red dot painting.
You're going to be like, $20. I can get that on.
I'm sure it's more than that because it looks halfway famous. I don't know. What about? I've always said that memes are not art.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But there's all kinds of people that can artistically put together a meme.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So if you're saying it's not art,
I'm probably wrong.
are you wrong that it's not art?
I probably am on some level.
Well, I'm glad that you're at a level of acceptance of yourself to say you're wrong, because I'm not.
Yeah, that's what called being the smart man. This is what we do on the Smart Man Show, is recognizing our faults.
I'm not at that level. I am still going to look at things and go, that is not art.
That's a dumb way to look at it.
Oh,
it's
God.
really ridiculous. What part of your perception of things do we have to talk about before you actually accept those things? How you perceive things, how you react to things. You know what I mean? Like, you could look at it and go, it's just not for me.
You would have to say that everything is art.
No.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Okay, so you're going to tell anybody who pours concrete for a living that isn't their art?
Depends on what kind of concrete they're
How
pouring.
about the guy that paints the lines? He's got to do that straight. How is that not art?
I mean, on some level it is. You know what I mean?
Everything
on some
is
level,
art.
No, everything is not art.
Okay, where do you draw the line? Because somebody either designed it or created it. The shade here in the studio, is that art? Somebody designed it and created it. I'm asking a legit question. I'm not trying to poke or prod you.
It seems like you're making ridiculous.
I'm literally trying to figure out where we draw a line as people as to what is art and what is not. Because you asked me
because those lines on the road are put together by the government. They are already like templates of how things are going. Somebody's just going and filling in what somebody told them to do, first of all. Second of all,
still had to do it. What about, but you brought up the IKEA table.
I said I don't know. I don't know.
I thought you were calling the IKEA table art.
No, I was saying, is it?
I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. Where is the line?
But if it is an actual piece of art that somebody says they made and they're calling themselves an artist, then you don't get to tell them it's not.
So, just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
You're getting mad.
I'm not getting mad.
I can see it on your face.
I'm not.
You're one of those people who may not say things, but your face is saying it still.
Well, okay. But I'm not mad. I'm just trying to get the point across.
Let me ask you a question. And this is not me poking and prodding. I'm asking you a question. If I decided one day to put on an adult diaper, take a literal dump in it, and then stick it in like a shadow box, call myself an artist and sell that, is it art?
I mean, if there's some people that do stuff like that for art, man, it's weird. It's insane. Here's a great example. What is and isn't art.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Banksy. I already brought up Banksy.
I actually really like Banksy because I think there's a message behind everything he does.
He had an exhibit, I don't know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and it was, they sold it at auction.
Oh, I know the one
you know
you're
what I'm
talking about. The shredder?
The shredder.
Yeah.
And as soon as they bought it, the shredder automatically shredded that painting.
Yep.
There's some people that would say that's not
They
art.
actually pieced together the art afterward.
Oh, I thought it was shredded in such a way that it would never be able to be put back together.
I think it was shredded in a straight line, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't want to misspeak because I thought that's what it was, but that just might be my own brain thinking, oh, they did that. But I thought that they had taken it and laid it out and still look at it as art. It's still Banksy. But I know that I know that I'm not on the probably popular side of this discussion. I just don't think, I think there's a lot of things that are considered art that don't feel art.
That don't feel like art to you, and that's fine. But I have more or less been on your side of this argument for a long time.
Okay.
It is only over the last 10 years, tops.
I just don't understand where you draw the line. Because again, I just asked you if I took a dump in a diaper, put it in a shadow box, called myself an artist, and then sold it or tried to sell it, am I an artist?
I mean, technically, yeah, kind of. If you were selling it as art and somebody bought it, some weirdo that wanted to buy a diaper full of poo.
When's your birthday?
December 28th.
Damn it, I missed it. But I'm going to get you a late birthday present. It's going to be the first Cartman. Oh, it's going to be the first Brian original. And I'm doing exactly that. And you're going to hang it up because it's art.
You're making dumb things. You're
I
saying
am
dumb
not.
things again.
I am giving you an original piece of art. Joking aside, will you hang it if I make it?
No.
Where do we draw the line?
I don't know, but I really want people to chime in some way, shape, or form on this. I want to chime in, and I wouldn't even mind a follow-up conversation with somebody else.
I'm always willing to talk about it. Like, I'm not, I know it sounds like we're being defensive on our arguments, but I just...
Again, the reason that I feel so strongly about it is because I have really just taken that leap in my life to access that part of me.
Well, you're exponentially older than me.
Like 6 years, fool. 7 years. What are you talking about?
7 years, buddy.
I mean, maybe you'll get with a program in 2 or 3.
But I'm the old man because I like watches.
Speaking of what is or is not art.
Don't. You can't do that.
Let's do the Hallmark Christmas challenge.
Oh man, I already know how this is gonna go.